Our next storyteller to the stage is Kassandra, also our fabulous videographer, one of them. Kassandra, her bio, crippled by a variety of neuroses and driven by a constant need for verbal affirmation, Kassandra frequently emerges from her life of seclusion into the public eye, where she commands the stage by literally just pushing everybody else off. And if that's not enough, she constantly insists upon being the center of attention in every gathering, obsesses about every outfit, and is overdressed for every occasion. She is a 40-something, trans-something, woman-something, living in something like a house somewhere outside of Tucson. When asked recently what she wanted to do with her life, she replied, "What are you saying? That I'm not doing anything in my life right now? Why would you criticize me like that? Do you think I like living like this? And why haven't you said anything nice about my makeup or my outfit? You saw me like 10 minutes ago." Please give a warm welcome to the stage, Kassandra.
Thank you. Wow, who writes these bios? That was kind of offensive, wasn't it? Okay, I have to rearrange my environment. Just a minute here. I need 40 hands. Okay.
Great outfit.
Oh, thank you. Oh, right. See the highlighting, the contouring work there? Okay.
Really like the stocking.
Wow, I feel so verbally affirmed right now. This is great, you guys. Okay, can I talk now, or do we, I'm totally fine to wait if we need to do more of this. Okay. First of all, as I was sitting back there listening to the stories, looking around the room, I couldn't help but feel a little overwhelmed and a little scared and a little bit like, I don't belong here type of feelings, and grateful that y'all have included me. And as I read my story, I hope you'll see why that is. So thank you, Mel. I have presented at FST a couple of times, but this to me is more intimidating. I don't know why. Okay. I need another finger to do my phone. Okay. Often when people meet me for the first time, I see a burning question behind their eyes. WTF? Do we need to explain that to the boomers? No, okay. I just wanted to see who would answer boomer. There's a big section over here. It's just as well they don't ask this question out loud, because I actually don't know how to answer. I had a wonderful childhood. I was raised in a home with two loving parents who loved us and each other. They were hardworking people. They didn't abuse us sexually or physically or emotionally. I'd say it was an ideal childhood. So what went wrong with me? I've never used any controlled substance illegally. I've never even had alcohol. I don't smoke. I don't even believe in sex outside of marriage. So what the heck? I should be normal, right? Well, I grew up in a very conservative Christian environment, and I was happy that way. I liked it just fine. I was always taught to be true to my principles, to be strong and independent. But there's a downside to teaching kids to be strong and independent. We're completing each other's sentences. This was meant to be. Yes, I grew up strong and independent and started making my own decisions. My dad grew up playing football and basketball. He and his brother were high school sports ball stars. Whatever sport, you just throw it in there, sports ball. In fact, it was so bad that his dad would shovel the walks. They lived up where it snowed a lot. His dad would shovel the walks in the winter because he didn't want the boys to wear out their shooting arm and throw their shot off. He was determined they would be great sports stars. Meanwhile, his sister was inside with his mother making the food and cleaning the house. Well, he decided to raise me the same way. And I really loved that starting out. I got to spend a lot of quality time with my dad playing sports, having fun, learning to, develop my physical talents and all those kinds of things. It was an enjoyable time. It was family time, it was together time, except that my brother, 2 years younger, was always better than me at everything, and it was infuriating. I got in trouble a couple times because I got so mad at him when we were on the court for showing me up in some way or another. Well, anyway, eventually, as we got a little older, they enrolled us in Little League sports. Now, suddenly, Little League sports is no longer about fun time with your dad. Okay, I was going to explain that, but I guess I don't have to. All of a sudden, it's about being yelled at for not being in the right place at the right time by a bunch of kids you didn't even want to be there with anyway. Oh my goodness, it was miserable. But that was not the worst. Eventually, I got into junior high and had to take PE class, and I discovered locker rooms and group showers. I won't ask her to raise a hand how many of y'all have ever been in the guy's locker room. I'll just tell you about it. I got so tired of smelly dudes waving their funky junk around and saying gross things about girls. I was mortified. I was disgusted. I did not want to be in there. Okay. Oh, speaking of girls, I really liked girls. I liked pretty much everything about girls. I liked the way they looked, the way they moved, the way they smelled, the way their hair flowed, the way their clothes flowed. I could go on and on. I wanted to be with them. I wanted to just be with the girls. I wanted to hang out with them. I wanted to talk with them. I wanted to be like them. Wait, what? Oh, that's not allowed. Eventually, when I was around 12, I sneaked in secret and tried on a couple of my mom's things, and I loved the way it felt. I don't know why. I can't explain why to this day. It just felt so fulfilling to me to imagine myself in that role. And it wasn't long before my parents found out and explained to me that that was absolutely not okay. And that was not my role, and I didn't belong there. They went on. Am I making it hard enough for you with the camera work? I try and keep moving. You might have to loosen up that tripod because I can see I'm totally out of frame right now. Okay. Sorry. There's that attention hog coming out again. Where was I? I don't know. They told me it was not okay. They said people will make fun of you. I said, can I just live as a girl? No, people will make fun of you, and that's just not right. So I stopped for quite a while, but eventually I started having these urges again, and I would again start in secret. And then they'd eventually discover me because I wasn't very sneaky. I was a good kid. I was not used to sneaking around and hiding things from my parents. I never had anything to hide ever before. I had no porn magazines under my mattress. I had no little roll of weed stuffed wherever people stuff their weed. Why am I looking at Mel? I don't know. You just seem really connected to that phrase. It's a good thing the lights are up. This is so much more enjoyable when I can see who's guilty out there. Where was I? Oh yeah, I didn't know how to hide anything. And I was very honest, always honest about everything. So it was so hard for me to have this huge part of me growing that I constantly felt the need to hide from the people that I loved and respected the most in the world. Eventually, I ended up getting married to a woman because I like women. And we had kids together, but in our marriage, I tried to come out to her and express to her my feminine side in just small ways. Can I do this? And it's really interesting, but when you say, well, I'm very sensitive, I want to talk about feelings, women are like, great, that's great, that's great. And then I say, oh, and I want to wear this sexy little thing in the bedroom, and they're like, whoa, who are you? I don't know, maybe that's a little too personal, sorry about that. I had 2 marriages that both ended in divorce, and me wanting to express the feminine side of myself was a huge challenge in both of those relationships. And it was something that I tried many times, many ways to get over with. Going to different counselors, talking to religious leaders, talking to my parents, having big interventions with my parents where they show up suddenly. And I don't really blame them for these things. They were acting on what they felt was my best interest. Excuse me while I do a little pinky finger scrolling. Okay, but I did not hate growing up male or being a guy in general. In fact, I enjoyed and still do a lot of things that society considers masculine, like building tree huts, but somebody here already mentioned building tree huts. Hey, it's okay, right? Building tree huts, playing Space Invaders on Atari, learning to program computers, messing around with sound systems and video systems, doing a lot of rugged outdoor activities like hiking, camping, exploring old mines and caves, and anything involving heights and danger. I definitely had YMIS. You know what that is? Young Male Immortality Syndrome? I kind of still do. Shh. That's a part of my former self I'm not quite willing to give up. And it's really convenient to be able to get ready in 5 minutes for anything. What is it? Okay, a clean t-shirt and the same jeans and sneakers you wore every other day. There you go. What's a mirror for? I don't know, don't need one. I've often ridiculed girls who missed out on some fun activity because they were worried about wrecking their clothes or messing up their hair or breaking a nail or ruining their makeup, and I thought those kinds of girls were just being vain. But at the same time, I also kind of wish that I could be one of those girls and do those things. And I wish that women could feel the same way about me when I saw them. Yeah, did I say that? Yeah, okay, I missed something there, but you got it. So about 2 years ago, following my divorce, I found myself living in a shack in the desert, as my intro said, and I decided this is my time to explore this other side of myself. And I had a lot of questions. What about religious concerns? What about family problems? And I just put all of that on hold for a little while and said, I'm just going to experience and experiment with this. So I looked online for some support groups, and I found out there was a gender support group in Tucson. I found out that there were accepting churches in Tucson that I could attend. And I just started going places, scared to death, not looking great. I started going places and meeting people and finding a good support group. And that was huge and helpful to me. And one of those amazing support groups I already mentioned was FST. But they said, see that little asterisk in our name? That little buddy is for you. Thank you for that. So what an interesting journey it's been. Rebooting my life in a new town, starting over, completely new group of friends, trying to learn on my own all the rules for society, for getting along as a female. It's given me a chance to think carefully about everything I do, and it's been overwhelming and discouraging. I decided 2 attributes that for me have always been attributed with femininity that I wanted to emulate were beauty and kindness. I thought, I want more of that. I want to be more of that. I want to do more of that. So I've worked on that a lot. Of course, I started by taking about 10,000 pictures of myself to make sure that I looked the way I wanted to look, that I was presenting myself the way I wanted to present myself. That 10,000 is not an exaggeration. That's actually a low number. And I've also had many conversations with friends who must think I'm completely neurotic, always asking, how am I doing on this? How's my voice? Am I being polite enough? Do I move gracefully? Am I listening enough? Are you sure there's not a delicate way that I can slurp the rest of the ketchup out of this little packet? And are you really not going to finish those fries and just leave them there? Letting food go to waste, that's one of those things that's really hard for me to let go of. One thing, though, that I learned very early in life, and that has helped me in this journey, how's your angle now, was... One thing I learned that's helped me in this journey is don't let other people tell you who you are. You tell them who you are. And so, even though they may try really hard to put you in a different category than where you want to be, I found I just present myself the way I want to be viewed, and eventually, maybe not at first, but eventually people come around to that. And nowadays, I go pretty much everywhere in Tucson. Tucson has been an amazing, accepting place, and it was nothing like the horror story that I thought would happen when I came out. Now, I don't pass as a biological woman. I know that. I'm way too tall. And so I have some other features that I don't need to point out in detail that just make that not a possibility. And I've complained to this about other girlfriends, and I'm like, yeah, but this, and face this, and body this, and they're like, welcome to womanhood. They're like, guess what? Every single woman in the world goes through what you're experiencing right now, constantly being self-conscious about body image because of the messages and the pressure from society and everything. And when I try and see myself as a woman, then I automatically try and fit myself into those boxes. And for me, there's some boxes that I just don't fit into at all, like shoes, for crying out loud. Okay, but now I go everywhere in Tucson. I go to the mall, I go to the grocery store, I use the women's restroom, and yet I've never tried to sneak and peek over the stall and see a girl. No, I just did my business. I don't know what the big deal is, people. I've even gone swimming in a public pool. Nobody freaked out. Nobody grabbed their children and ran screaming. Everyone was just nice and it was fine. I have pictures if you need to see them. Just talk to me. Okay. Every once in a while, though, or maybe every twice in a while, I see a bad photo of myself, or I hear a recording of my voice, and I just freak out. I'm like, ew, I'm gross. Why do you people treat me nice? I don't understand why you would do that. I go into deep despair, and I say, what am I doing? I just sound like such a freak. I look like such a freak. Sometimes it's very hard to shut out those voices. For me, basically my whole life since I was 12, I wished that I could pass. Then nobody would give me crap about where I wanted to go or what I wanted to wear or who I wanted to talk to. But in going public, I just had to come to terms with the fact that that's not a reality for me. I'm never going to be hidden in the crowd. For one thing, I stick out a foot above them. And so I decided I have to accept that. And that turns out that's a good thing. Because rather than just being lost in the crowd, I can actually stand for something and maybe make it easier for other people further down the road. But here's an unfortunate side effect. As soon as I start getting myself to a level where I feel like, oh, maybe I could be attractive. Maybe I could fit into this mold of femininity. Guess who's there? A bunch of guys who see me as nothing more than a sex object. Where have I heard that before? Every woman ever? It has been remarkable as I started going out, trying to find places that I could be accepted. So naturally I'd go, to the gay bars, to the place where the other trans people or where the drag queens hang out, even though I don't at all consider myself a drag queen. That's a whole different thing, but if we want to talk about the differences there, that's another subject. Anyway, go to these places and just get these horrible advances from guys that just don't care at all who you are. As long as you've got some orifice on your body that they could ram their thing into, then they're good. Whoa, sorry, was that a little too... You know the thing, okay. It doesn't, yeah. Okay. And I try to explain to them, you being turned on does not equal me being interested. Hello, guys. Do you even hear yourselves? No, I dress this way because it makes me feel nice. Yes, I would like other people to think that I feel nice as well, but I don't need you getting all up in my business, thank you very much. And so they start on, and I've got this whole other spiel I gave the other night that I'm not going to go to about all the gross advances I've got from a lot of different guys. But what it all boils down to is this. You ought to be able to say no and have your boundaries respected. Does anyone feel that way? I was like, thank you in advance, but I don't want to dance. I don't need your hands all over me. If I want a man, I'ma get a man. But it's never my philosophy. My name is no. My number is no. My sign is no. You need to let it go. You need to let it go. You need to let it go. Like one day those words from Meghan Trainor just hit me and I'm like, oh, I get it now. Totally get that song. Okay, past the lyrics, got that. So now it's possible, no, it's definitely true that not all guys are like this. I probably have a skewed sample because the places I've been going and so, you know, as I go out to more acceptable locations like the mall or Bookman's, I always hope things are going to be different. So far, not yet. So far, that's still who I get, is creepy guys who want to drag me into the supply closet at Bookman's, or out into a little creepy old man in the mall comes up to me and wants to go out, wants to know if I have a car, and if we can go out and get in his car. Right then in the mall parking lot at like 10 in the morning. Like, dude, you've got issues. So, you know what, guys, maybe now I understand why I didn't like your stupid sports ball. It's all about, I mean, come on, it's all just one big metaphor, innuendo thing, right? It's all about you grab your stick and your balls and you try and force them past the boundary and into that hole. It's all about overwhelming the opposing forces' defenses and declaring dominance, getting them face down on the field. And I'm sorry. Is that not true? Oh my gosh, sports ball. But for me, relationships are not about that, and they never have been. They've never been a competition. They've been about enjoying each other for who we are now, while exploring transitions into who we might like to become in the future. They're about kindling the sparks of beauty and kindness within each of us, and supporting each other's values and dreams, even if that means we sometimes wear the other team's color. Meanwhile, I'll keep working on developing my true colors, and maybe, once people get over their initial shock, they'll decide that WTF stands for, well, that's fantastic. Oh, you want this?